What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another Good Morning Tottenham, but ultimately there's only 6 minutes left of the morning, but we're here to give you another update for you guys. There's been a lot of back and forth now. Yesterday we brought you the news of the statement from the Tottenham Hotspur board, and you know, I mentioned yesterday on the stream that I felt it was just more of a token gesture, and I'm not sure if actual change is going to come from it. The Supporters Trust have responded this morning, so we're going to get into it with the response from the Supporters Trust, and then we're going to get you guys on to have your say on what you think it means and what you get from the statement from the Supporters Trust. And then after that, we'll be going through a bit of random news that's circling the web. But yeah, we've got 182 people watching at the moment, only 18 likes. So everyone scroll down, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. But on the face of things, you've read the statement this morning. What's like the first thing that comes to your mind after reading that?
Well, let's let everyone know what has been said in this.
Yeah, I just wanted to build up a few more viewers before we would get into it.
Also, people watching, remember to tag us on Twitter at WeAreTottenhamTV for any content or opinions you want us to react to. And, of course, send it in the super chat as well. And we'll be able to read out your opinion and we'll react to it live on the show. When I read it last night, there was a bit of an angry tone to their response. They weren't happy, and I can understand why, especially because given how they were criticised pretty publicly by Spurs yesterday in the statement, and their calls for mediation with the FSA seems to have been declined from the club. The FSA, by the way, have also publicly said on Twitter they have condemned the statement from Tottenham, and that they don't appreciate the criticism against the Supporters Trust, and any movement going forward has to have the Supporters Trust involved in any decision. So they didn't appreciate that part of the statement anyway.
Shall we rerun that statement? Shall we go through this Tottenham statement first and then go through the Supporters Trust statement again?
Okay. Let me get the Spurs statement up then.
We did go through it last night, but I think it's good to go through it again and just see if we can get anything from a second time around. First of all, let's look at that tweet about Grandpa. That was brilliant last night.
Oh.
So there you go. Someone nominating Grandpa to the Tottenham Hotspur board last night. And yeah, Grandpa, I think we well up for that. Really well up for that.
Yeah, of course. He would be jump at the chance with both feet, I would say, being on the board. But that'd be great scenes in the Tottenham board when Grandpa's elected.
Yeah, so everyone in the comments spam hashtag vote Grandpa. That's the term that we're going to go for. But yeah, I think Grandpa would absolutely love that. But yeah, let's go on. Well, let's go through the super chat. Nishan Prasad said, will this supporters trust involve overseas supporters club as well?
They said it's going to be from a diverse supporters around the world. So I guess they'll be able to elect their representatives onto the club advisory board.
Yeah,
the club advisory panel. That's what they called it. Reading the statement again from Tottenham, they first of all. Again, they apologised to the Super League. We should have challenged and reconsidered the annual access system. Basically, they said it's important to underline that we entered the ESL with the expectation that the format, rules and structures would evolve through dialogue with key parties, namely the Premier League, FA, UEFA and FIFA, and crucially fans.
But they also went into it knowing that the Premier League and UEFA were staunch against it, and it could oppose sanctions upon the club.
Mm-hmm. And also, they say that they entered it thinking that there would be a dialogue between the fans. Yeah, they didn't. There was no dialogue.
Well, the only dialogue between the fans was we don't discuss hypothetical situations.
Then it says it should never have been conveyed with certainty when it was in fact a framework agreement for consultation going forward. So now they're kind of backtracking on the ESL in their statement, saying that they didn't really know what was entailed in entering the Super League.
So that's why they signed a binding contract, yeah?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I mean, which is very hard to believe. Why
so they signed a binding contract not knowing what the actual Super League was, pretty much.
That's what they're claiming. I don't think it's true, but they're claiming that.
But I mean, either way, even if that's true or that's false, it's ridiculous either way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agreed. They then goes on to say, we should have challenged and reconsidered the annual access system. We wholeheartedly regret that we involved the club and that the legal process itself meant we were unable to consult our fans early on, and we apologise unreservedly. So that was the apology which the Supporters Trust said in their statement was better late than never. It then goes on to say, we have all learned lessons from recent events and have reviewed fan engagement as a priority. As a result, we shall be liaising with key stakeholders and establishing a club advisory panel comprised of elected representatives from the different constituencies of our fan base, inclusive and reflective of our fans' diversity. The chair of this panel will be appointed annually as a non-executive of the club board. We believe this provides authentic, genuine representation and will ensure fans are the heart of club decision making, something we greatly welcome. Okay, but then they go on to say, we are disappointed that the Supporters Trust has not yet met with the club. The Supporters Trust, with whom we have worked and indeed promoted for 20 years, has called for the resignation of executive board members over the ESL, individuals who have lived and breathed this club for the best part of 2 decades. We have offered us on several occasions to meet board to board and discuss an open agenda, excluding a change of club ownership and the resignation of the board. Our door remains open on this basis. And then it goes on to say, we're excited to be welcoming 10,000 fans.
What's that? What does that say? The door remains open on what basis?
On this basis, on the basis that the meeting will be board to board. So basically, I guess that implies no mediation, and excluding the agenda will remain open, excluding a change of club ownership and the resignation of the board. So anything can be discussed except for those things. That's what they're saying.
Just pause there, because I got super chat here from I Hate Marmite. Just says, just because they have apologised, which by the way is 2 weeks late and half-hearted, let's not forget they tried taking the game away from us. Hashtag ENIC out.
They then go on to say, like many clubs, we shall need to recover from the loss of substantial revenues. The still new stadium is the game changer in our progress. It will deliver revenues for investment in the first team. Be assured, we are absolutely clear that the heartbeat of the club is success on the pitch and our fans. It's important now to get behind Ryan and the team as we look to finish the season strongly.
So the club basically haven't had a heartbeat since ENIC have taken over.
Basically, yeah. That's I guess you can take that. That's definitely true. So that is just overviewing what the statement yesterday from Spurs was in regards to getting more fan representation on the board. And Supporters Trust did kind of wait a bit of time to process that statement, and they came out with their own statement today in response to what Spurs have said. So if I read out that statement now.
All right, let's go into it.
They said, the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust has noted with interest the club's latest announcement. The timing came as a surprise as we were still engaged in an independent mediation designed to bring about a meeting between the Trust and the THFC. Mediation that was activated by the Supporters Trust after the club repeated refusal to specify terms for a meeting. At least, though, 3 weeks after the collapse of the ESL and over a fortnight after everyone else, the club has apologised unreservedly, although only after detailing its reservations. An apology is better late, however, than never. More important is the acceptance by the club's board of measures we have been calling for over some years, which we put forward in our 6-point plan. The dogged stance of the Trust and the wider supporter base has forced the club to concede the principle that fans must be represented at the board level and to adopt some of our specific suggestions. But announcing this without consultation on detail is not a promising start, and the measures set out in the club statement do not give fan representatives any real power. It is vital the club advisory board panel has the support of the fans, including the Trust, if it is to be a credible vehicle for fan representation. 100% agree with that. And then goes on to say, we are willing to meet the club to discuss mechanics of genuine supporter representation at board level. Those discussions would be conducted alongside the conversations we are already having with government officials and with the Premier League in order to deliver changes needed. We have said we are willing to meet. We have made it clear to the club directly and to the mediator that we are willing to meet, and we have made it clear what the basis for that meeting should be. We will take the results of any discussions back to our members. What cannot go unquestioned is the club's decision to publish a statement that misrepresents the position and attacks a volunteer fan organisation at a time when the club is facing sustained criticism over its relationship with the fan base for its decision making. It's simply destructive to do so while we are pursuing a mediation process via football. The FSA, in a good faith, is regrettable in the extreme. We also note the description of the club's board as individuals who have lived and breathed this club for the best part of 2 decades. The obvious implication is that the Trust and the fans we represent are somehow not. Let us state now, for the record, that the supporters of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club have lived and breathed this great club for far longer than 2 decades, and we will continue to do so beyond the tenure of our current custodians. The club fails to acknowledge that in previous meetings with the Trust it is repeatedly denied that any talks were taking place in relation to any Super League, even while it is now clear that those talks were taking place. It's the latest statement is another attempt to deflect criticism at a time when the club should be seeking to rebuild relationships and repair trust. Relationships matter not only with fans but with the wider footballing family. And when those relationships have been so severely damaged, the time has to come to reassess. Fans are not convinced that the current board or owners do know that the heartbeat of the club is success on the pitch, and that the warning that we shall need to recover from the loss of substantial revenues is an ominous indeed from a board that has imposed the highest ticket prices in Europe and charged £60 for the partial return of fans to our stadium after a year of the pandemic. Real change is coming because you, the fans, have made your voices heard. We remain committed to securing that real change at the football club, whose interests we have and always will put first.
I actually think that's a really spot-on statement from the Trust, to be honest, and I really stand by every single word that they say. To be honest, I think that when I read the Tottenham statement last night, I had the feelings that I put across on camera, and after hearing that statement, it just makes my feelings 100% more confirmed, in my opinion. I don't know what your feelings are.
Yeah, I think they have a right to be angry with how they've been criticised, and also a right as well when they're trying to meet the Sports Trust for a meeting and they've been repeatedly lied to, so they want to try and rebuild that relationship. So they're trying to arrange a meeting through mediation with the FSA, and I feel like Spurs have undercut that. They've kind of undercut it with this statement to try and, as they say, deflect criticism from their position. And they're kind of sweeping under the carpet a lot of what they've done with this move. And yes, having a club advisory board panel, is a good step. But again, as they say, this club advisory panel needs to have the green light from the fans, and the trust need to know how this advisory panel is going to be put together. So to announce it without any consultation with how it's going to be put together is also a move which they're trying to get ahead of the game, basically. Looking like ahead of these protests. They're trying to get out in front of it trying to make a move.
It's all just very calculated, isn't it, from Spurs? Always is. I mean, they can never just do anything in the kind of vision of the fans. It's always got their own agenda behind things. They've never put the fans first, ever. Never, ever in their whole tenure at Spurs. And, talking about in their statement how the fans are the heartbeat of the club, or, they've put their heart and soul into it for the last 20 years, is just like, it's just a kick in the teeth to us. It's just a kick in the teeth because we know where our hearts are at. Our hearts are in the best interest for this football club. Their best interest, they're in the best interest for their pockets and their football club. Obviously, for their pockets to be lined, the football club needs to be some sort of a success. But they're not interested in the success that we're interested in at the end of the day.
And also, you got to look at the fact that the statement was very corporate. There was no there was no relatability in that statement. It could have easily been an open letter from Daniel Levy to the fans, explaining the situation, apologising, talking directly to the fans. But it isn't. It's a very sanitised, corporate messaging.
As always.
Very cold.
No family feel there. That's what this club is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a family. You know what I mean? That's what the basis that it's been built on. Football clubs, the club, the players, the fans should all be pulling together in the same direction. But the club want to go that way, the fans want to go that way, the players want to go that way. I mean, it's a complete mess at the moment. Just before you go on, let me just read out this super chat from Nithin Prasad saying, "What do you guys think of Ryan excluding Rodon, who has been brilliant, and should he start over Eric for the remaining fixtures?" I mean, that's not really a conversation for this time, but I do think Rodon should be getting a few minutes.
Yeah, why Rodon has been ousted is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
But, I don't really understand it, but he clearly going with the most experienced pair. What I would say, so going back to the statements, the Spurs one, just at least with Liverpool, that John Henry did a public message on camera apologising for it. Joel Glazer did an open letter to his fans. Kroenke did an open letter to his fans. This is just cold. Yeah. There's nothing to try and there's nothing personal about it.
At the end of the day, they took this long to make any sort of response to what's happened, to the shit show that has happened, and the response that they give is basically, what it tells me is look, we don't really care. We're gonna put this just to shut you guys up for a little bit and see what happens from there. That's literally what it is. It's just something just to shut us up, and no fan should change their opinion on what's gone on because of it, because it's just a complete. It's a forced message from Tottenham. That's all it is.
And to say as well that they didn't understand what they were signing up for with the ESL.
Oh my God.
I mean, that is just so disingenuous. And,
of course it is.
Of course they knew what they signed up for. And I don't believe for a second that they would sign documents and actually go for it and be with the potential of being held liable for this decision if they didn't know what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Of course they did. And look, I think the ENIC out brigade, which we're firmly in, I think the ENIC out brigade are just going to get louder and louder after these two statements that have come out.
I still think the protest on the weekend is definitely needed, and I think as well, it's important to note that yes, the statement isn't as strong as we wanted and stuff like that, but it's important to note that our pressure has forced them to make this statement. It's forced them to come out and at least try and appease us. But yes, it's not enough. But fan pressure is clearly working.
It is working. It is clearly working. As the trust say in their statement, that this is all because of us. This is because of the fans. This is because of the pressure we're applying. So it just shows more than ever that we just can't stop. We just got to keep going until we get what we need and what we want. That is the facts of the matter. Shall we start getting some fans on? All right, let's start off with Charlie. Let's start off with Charlie.
I know what people think of what's going on.
Yes, Charlie, how's it going, mate?
Hey guys, you good? Can you hear
me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Look, the statements have been made. First of all, what did you make out of, when you first read it, the Tottenham statement from last night?
What I will say is, don't let that fool you, that statement, because as you just said, it feels like a bit of a forced kind of thing. Like, this has always been a thing with Spurs, and it's really, really frustrating. Like, it's just very, very kind of PR corporate. There's no like sort of open hand on heart message ever, like in anything. Literally, yeah. They're so cold hearted. They don't kind of speak directly with fans. There's no communication there whatsoever. And I think, as you said, if this fan representation, if it's genuine and there's actually going to be a fan on the board that has a big say, obviously that's a big if that's the case. But if that genuinely is the case, and it's a small step in the right direction, I would say. It's a very small step. There's many steps we need to do, but it's definitely something at least. And as you said, we just got to keep going. Basically, at the end of the day, there's only so much us fans can do to kind of control the situation. But what we can do is keep putting pressure, more and more pressure, until eventually, you never know, they could end up cracking. And they're starting to kind of show a few cracks at the moment with this statement that they've been forced to put out. And the statement as well from the Supporters Trust, I thought was brilliant, to be honest, because at times I've been a bit kind of like not too sure about the Supporters Trust in the past, due to the fact that they would kind of never bring up, when they had the meetings, they'd kind of never bring up like the lack of spending, the lack of investment. But this time, this statement, I really do like the look of. And for once, we can kind of say that, yeah, we're all on the same page as fans. Well, I hope so anyway. I hope everyone's on the same page. And I hope May the 15th, as you can see here, May the 15th. Come on, let's go. May the 15th has to be big. I'm telling you, we have to do what Arsenal done, what Man U done. We have to turn up in numbers, and we just have to, even on the 16th as well, when the actual game is, we just need to keep applying pressure. That's all we can do as fans, and we've got to turn up in numbers and all pull in the same direction.
And it's not even just those 2 dates as well, because the Supporters Trust said they're going to have a presence outside the stadium on the 19th, which is the last home game of the season against Aston Villa. So there's actually 3 protests planned. So I hope you'll join us in coming to all 3, Charlie, because I know me and you were at the forefront of the first ever protest after the ESL.
The OG original protest with like 3, with you got only 3 of us there.
You and John Cooper.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, but I'll be there on the 15th, of course. Hopefully on the 16th and the 19th as well, because look, everyone, I advise everyone watching, get down there if you can, because as I said, we just got to keep going, keep putting the pressure on, and hopefully we got to organise more protests after this. That's a message I want to put out. After these 3 are done, we do not stop there. We need to keep organising more and keep going, keep protesting, and also as well, boycott Villa. That should be a new tag on Twitter, boycott Villa, because 60 quid, that's double what the likes of, I think, Liverpool and stuff are charging. Like Burnley are giving tickets for free, which is a fantastic gesture from them. And 60 quid after the shit show of a season we have, and to go and watch probably more than likely a dead rubber game. 60 quid, like, come on. Like,
but Charlie, he's giving everyone a free food.
And a live DJ set.
And a live DJ set as well.
They're getting their iPod out. You can't deny that.
It won't be long till they give us like 50% on the Skywalk or something. Like.
Oh, you'll be lucky. You 20%, you mean?
50%. 50% off on your first £5 on the Skywalk.
Yeah, exactly.
Something stupid like that, isn't it?
But what do you make of the bit of the statement, Charlie, from the club yesterday, where they said that when they announced the Super League, it says it's important to underline that we entered the Super League with the expectation that the format, rules and structure would evolve through dialogue with key parties, namely the Premier League, FA, UEFA, FIFA and crucially the fans. Then they go on to say it should never have been conveyed with certainty when it was in fact a framework agreement for consultation going forward. So they're claiming they didn't really know what the ESL was kind of when they signed up for it, and that it should never have been conveyed that it was going to go forward without consultation with the fans. What do you say to that part of the statement?
Bollocks, quite frankly, because the thing is, it's bollocks because they signed a binding contract, which they got all the details. They were probably we heard rumors that they were in discussions about this for about a decade or so. I don't know how true that is, but we've heard there's been sort of rumours that these clubs involved in the Super League have been in discussions for a long time. So they had plenty of time to think about this, plenty of time. And I think, as you said there, Sim, it's their statement. It's another thing, like they're doing the apology that we're all calling for, to be fair. We all called for an apology. But the thing is, as one of you said, they could have at least kind of done maybe a letter or a video. To be honest,
you know, because Levy's always been one. What at the end of every year he does an annual open letter.
The chairman's message. Yeah,
he does a chairman's message. Like he clearly has. I know it's not true, but he has a persona that he's a Tottenham fan and he wants to be one of us and all this kind of stuff. And even if it was 1% true, I think in this instance, he has to at least try and get more personal with the fan base to try and rebuild trust. And to just put out a corporate statement like that, which was with a lot of very vague elements to it and nothing personal about it, I think was the wrong step from a PR standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. Like, at the end of the day, we must never forget, even if they go and give us a good transfer window or whatever in the summer, we can never forget what they tried to do. And it's, for me, I've been ENIC out before the Super League and for a long time, but this is just unforgivable for anyone. And I can't think of a good reason to why anyone can back them now, because Levy, for me, it's weird because we say yeah, and this is true. Like he does not give a shit about the football club. He's only there to line his pockets. But the thing is, at the same time, he's kind of too involved in a way. Like you see him, you've got this guy making all the footballing decisions when he clearly doesn't know a thing about football and has no interest in it. Which also applies to the other board members, like the people that, like for example, the recruitment. Like how does Hitchens still have a job? For example, like the amount of deals he's messed up on. Like surely in any other business or industry, you're gone if you're not doing your job properly. And I don't know why the likes of Hitchen aren't gone, because to be honest, there's more of a chance, let's say, that Hitchen gets out than, let's say, Levy or the club sell up. So for me, I don't get why some of these people that they employ haven't gone either, to be honest.
Yeah, completely agree, Charlie. Completely agree. Look, we've got to move on, but thank you so much, guys. Charlie, for coming on and having your say, and looking forward to seeing you on the 15th, mate.
Come on, up Spurs.
See you soon, Charlie.
Spurs. See you guys soon.
Cheers, guys. All right, so really interesting views from Charlie there. I've actually got this up, Daniel Levy's first ever programme notes as a Tottenham chairman, which might be interesting to go through. I haven't read it. Did you read this? It was doing the rounds last night. Apparently there's some interesting statements in there. But like one of the comments in there, plenty of clubs have hiked up admission charges, leaving young supporters unable to attend. And that's exactly what they've done. But anyway, let's keep going. Who is next? Who have we got next? Is it Stelios?
Is he there? His camera seems to be off. Stelios, if you can turn your camera on. It does seem to be off. So
if not, I saw Bob spurring. Maybe let's get Bob on next. Yes, Bob.
Hey,
how's
Bob.
it going, mate? I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, there's loads going on. Loads going on there. But yes.
How you doing, Bob?
Statement. Good, mate. And yeah, it looks like we're being heard. Slowly,
so
but surely.
First of all, give me your reaction to the Spurs statement from last night, and then follow up with your reaction from the Supporters Trust today.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that statement would have come out yesterday if it wasn't for the protests that are coming up. I
completely agree.
I think we've got their attention, and they thought, right, let's do something about it. Let's try and nip it in the bud. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. If anything, it intensified the protests with their lukewarm apologies and the fact they've had club's best interests at heart for 20 years, and then performances on the pitch are everything, and success on the pitch means everything. It just, I don't know who they're trying to bullshit. Because believe it or not, we're intellectual and we are intelligent fans who can see right through them. And it was the worst thing. One thing that did worry a lot of us, and I did a stream yesterday, and it was the initial response. Understandably, the trust came out with initial response saying, basically, hold on, let's get something together. But thank you for your kind something. They mentioned the word kind, and that worried me, guys. The fact, and Brian Daigle especially, the fact they mentioned the word kind, and we thought, oh no, right, this doesn't sound right.
Sorry, who mentioned the word kind? Tottenham or the Supporters Trust?
The Sports Trust, their initial response yesterday.
No. That was to the fans who have been
sending
messages, not to the.
Right, okay. Then that's sorry. But regardless, our worry was, I think Charlie just mentioned it. They've always been. They always pussyfoot around certain subjects that the trust do at times, not always, but at times. So we were wondering what kind of lukewarm response that we're going to get. And mate, honestly, it's again in a way it's brought out the fire even more with their response this morning. The trust's response, spot on, absolutely spot on, and it just shows they really do have the fans backing, and they truly know what we're talking about. And yeah, let's be honest, not everyone's ENIC out or ENIC reform, which doesn't have the right ring to it, but they certainly got the majority of the people on side, and honestly couldn't big up more than what it is. And a fantastic, best statement I've seen from the trust since day dot.
Ever, in my opinion.
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely spot on, Bob.
And looking at the Tottenham statement yesterday, there are a few things that really are quite irksome. First of all, when they're talking about the Super League, they kind of failed to acknowledge they knew exactly. Yeah. They're trying to imply they didn't know what was the plan with the Super League before signing up to it, and also their criticism of the Supporters Trust and their failure to have a meeting with them, which is mediated, is quite frustrating as well. But when it comes to the club advisory panel, is it too vague for you in terms of what it entails to get excited about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've totally put their statement, their apology from yesterday to one side, Sim, because I mean, who's gonna? They want someone independent on the board, don't they? But who's gonna select the independent person? Is that coming from Levy and ENIC? Surely that's not independent. Who puts that independent person?
Is the chairman of the panel panel, which is set up by the panel will be comprised of elected representatives from different constituencies of our fan base, inclusive and reflective of our fans' diversity, and then the chairman of that panel will be a full non-executive member of the board.
Yeah, well, we know that
chairman of the panel
is exactly.
The chairman of the panel will be elected by the panel. By the club advisory panel, they will elect it. They will elect the chairman.
But who elects the advisory panel in then?
Yeah, I know it's all vague, isn't it?
Fan groups, I don't know.
Is it going to be carefully selected people by ENIC and Daniel Levy? That's what I want to know.
They've basically voiced our opinions and our thoughts, and like I say, guys, absolutely fantastic. A lot more than what we were expecting. I know Stel's in the background, Danny and Brian were on yesterday, and we had our worries what the response is going to be. And I know Stel mentioned it a couple of times, and absolutely brilliant. We've got their attention, and that's what we wanted. If they're hoping that by yesterday's statement that the protest would have simmered down a bit, or probably less people, nah. No, if anything, had the opposite effect. We've lost all trust. Fortunately, we've got the trust on our side.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're definitely staying on message, and they haven't backed down. And what do you make of as well the fact that the club seem to be refusing to meet the trust on the terms the trust are putting forward, which is through mediation through the Football Supporters Association, and on the basis that that the future of the board members and the ownership of the club will be discussed. The Spurs do not want to discuss that under any circumstances.
What kind of what kind of mediation that? Come to the meeting. We'll welcome you. Oh, by the way, you can't speak about what everyone's talking about, ENIC out, and you can't talk about no. It doesn't work like that. It needs to be an open, frank, civil conversation. Everything on the board, and discuss it like human beings, like adults, and get to a point where there is a way forward. I'm realist. I think Ben, both of you mentioned we're not expecting ENIC out. That'd be great in an ideal world to see ENIC out, but ENIC reform, like you said, Sim, doesn't have the right circle to it, same circle to it. We need change. We need change, and we've got their attention. That's step one. And I just want to ask you a question, you two, and again we mentioned it. Stel mentioned it a couple of times yesterday. Wouldn't you guys be interested in being a fan representative? Because you got the following, and I know for a fact you'd get full backing from everyone to be.
You're not seeing the hashtag, mate. Vote Grandpa.
I know Grandpa. But that would be great. But I don't think he'll take no for an either. I think there's no debate with Grandpa. He'd be like, "You fucking doing this, right?" And you're doing it. But on a serious note, is that something that'd interest you?
I think it would, wouldn't it?
Being a fan representative, I mean. I think there are a lot of people better placed than us to represent the best needs of the club. But if people were putting us forward to be on the panel and stuff like that, then obviously we'd consider that. But
good.
When we're not here pushing our putting our hat in
or
anything to be on.
We could push it for you. If all we need is a yes. Yeah. All we need is a yes, and trust me, we'll get behind you guys. Legends, absolute legends.
Appreciate that, Bob.
Massive big up to you, Bob. Thank you very much. But look, in terms of that, I think what my brother's saying is right. Is that like I don't think we're gonna put our hat in the ring, but if people think that we're a good option to be put in the ring, then I mean that would be crazy for me to think about. But I think I think it's good to see what kind of people do want to throw their hat in the ring and what kind of people are going to be put up because, if there are going to be people that are up for it that are more qualified than us and stuff like that, then I would, I want them to take it.
And it's not just me saying it, Ben. It's been a natural conversation amongst quite a few of us because you do tap into everyone's thoughts and everyone's opinions and you're given opinions even without you asking. So you have got the finger on the pulse and this isn't being brown nosy or anything. I'm serious about it. You guys be absolutely spot on to be on there because one thing you do have is conversations with the fans on a daily basis, so what the thoughts are. And with all due respect, put aside if you want to do it for the sake of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Look at the chance that if you did have the opportunity to do it, how it'd benefit the football club and certainly appease some of the fans. So have a think about it. And if it's a yes, we'll all behind you. We'll all behind you.
I mean, I don't even know if it's an option at the moment in terms of the club advisory board. I'm guessing they're taking it from official supporters clubs and season ticket holders and things like that. So that would all have to be ironed out in terms of who's getting elected to represent the fans.
We'll do it. We'll get you on. If you want to get on, we'll sort it out. The Tottenham Hotspur Football YouTube family will make it happen. Trust me, we'll make it happen.
All right. Big yourself up, Bob.
I'll tell you what. If they're going to take YouTubers, we'll put our hat in the ring. If they're saying we're going to take from the YouTube community, we'll put our hat in the ring. But if they're going to take just from official supporters clubs, we'll just leave it at that.
No. They need to get with the times, of course. YouTube and its clout, definitely 100%. But see you guys on the 15th.
See you on the 15th. See you on the 16th.
Definitely be there. See
you on the 19th as well.
Yeah. I'm going to say 17th, 18th if there's stuff going on, mate. I'll be there 100%.
Have you got your tent? You're going to pitch up outside the stadium?
Yeah, I'm busking. I'm going to come with my little guitar and play some Bangra tunes. And see what money I can get. And then protest at the same time as well.
Sounds great, Bob. All right, big yourself up. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you next time, mate.
Come on, Edict reform.
Edict reform. Super chat here from Kieran Sinfeld saying the fan representative has just been announced via NBC Sport. Is that a bait?
I don't know. I'm trying to work it out. It doesn't look. What I would say is, I don't think it's true what he's saying.
Yeah, so it's got to be a bait.
They don't announce fan representatives via NBC Sport in America. I don't think that's true.
It's probably Daniel Levy trying to get one over us.
I'm trying to work out if that name is bait, though. Doesn't sound like bait. Yeah, someone's already laughing. So probably is bait. But
all right, let's get Stelios on. Stelios.
How you doing, guys? You can call me Stelios Amigos, Stel Nino, Stel T, whatever you want.
Stel Nino.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Great shows always.
Not got your hat
Keep
on
it
today.
Up. Do you know what? The magic's gone, Ben. Sim, magic's gone. The magic hat is no longer, unfortunately. Maybe again in the future one day.
Yeah, maybe. But give me your reaction to the two statements. Well, first of all, from the Tottenham board, and then from the Supporters Trust. What was your reaction to them?
Yeah, so the Tottenham board statement was just corporate jargon, lots of media spin. Let's divert, distract, delay, whack a few things in to just kind of slightly summarize over bits that the Spurs Supporters Trust statement put out. All in all, it was just a load of bullshit. The Spurs Supporters Trust statement, it was solid in the sense of they politely told the club that's not good enough and don't insult us, which they did. Tottenham did insult the Spurs Supporters Trust, but Ben, Sim, for me, all of this is one big, massive farce, and I want to explain why. And I had a really long think about this last night. And this is the way I see it. Tell me where you guys are at, okay? Why are we in this situation? It's because fans are fed up, angry, depressed, sick of it. So all of this stems from fan resentment being negative, okay? Mm-hmm. Why are fans unhappy? We can put it down to three main things. Number one, not winning trophies. Number two, the recruitment and the selling of players. We're just fed up with the whole recruitment process. And number three, the rinse and repeat of managers. Manager comes in, manager goes out. Manager comes in, manager goes out. Doesn't get back. Then a caretaker comes in, whether it's Tim Sherwood, Chris Ramsey, Ryan May. They're sick of it. I'm sick of it. No trophies, poor recruitment. Okay. So if we all agree as fans, that's where we're at. What is the solution that fixes trophies coming in, the correct players being bought, and managers being backed? It's not putting a fan representative on the board. This is the biggest. I think it's actually becoming a joke, and fans have just been caught up in the hype and the debate. The reality is this: does having a fan, let's say you two are on the board of representatives for us, okay? Mm-hmm. Are you two going to have any say or power in what players come in, what players go out, what we do with the managers, where the money? Of course you're not. You're going to have no voting rights. No business owner hands over any power or control to anyone other than equity stakeholders. The only way that changes is if you go to the German model, the 50+1. But that is law. So the government needs to change law. And can I say something? If the UK government did change the law, guys, they can't enforce it on the current owners. They'll have to wait for the next owners to come in to enforce it. Yeah. And that is actually more plausible because let's say ENIC want £2 billion. Let's say half of that goes to the fans. That's £1 billion worth of shares. Well, the fans are going to have to buy that £1 billion. Well, let's say we've got 5 million UK fans. £1 billion divided by 5 million is £180 each. We could put £180 each and buy 50%. But that's a really, really, really long-term play that might never really, fulfill itself. So for me, this whole fan representation, guys, I agree with Bob because we had a chat yesterday, but having thought about it, do not get on that board. You are going to waste your time. And whatever fan does get on that board, this so-called fans board or fans representative, it's a complete con, man. There's only one. Yeah, what are they? Okay, we advise you buy Bruno Fernandes. Okay, thank you for advice. No. What's the point?
It's basically the same as the manager's advice. The manager's...
you said Bruno. I thought I heard Jedson. I'm so
Exactly,
sorry. I thought I heard
exactly.
Jedson.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the same idea as the manager. The manager can say who he wants, but ultimately they're going to get who Daniel Levy gives them.
Exactly, or whoever Daniel Levy pays the money to, Hitchin, who probably has, who will always have more power than any fan representative we get. You could put whoever you want on there. And another thing, once you're in that clique, once you're in that group, not you guys, but there's other podcasts and fan channels, I won't mention their names, big ones, they kind of sit on the fence because they don't want to break ties with what they've now got, which is a link. So if you do go on that panel, you don't want to lose that position. It's quite a comfortable position now. Are you going to be as honest and as open as what you two are now with the way you are? No, you won't. You will change because you're in an environment that is theirs. So what we need, guys, is new chairman and new ownership, unless there's a dramatic change in their behavior. And they're not going to change their ways, these guys. They've made 20 years, a leopard does not change its spots. What we need to do is keep protesting, get your Levy out banners, take them to the protest, your clown masks of Levy, and let's get this clown out of the club.
You got it all.
Listen, I'm with Brian Daigle. I want a change of ownership. They don't have the best interest of the footballing side of the club, and they never will, guys. They never will.
But Stel, how can we guarantee that if they sell the club, if we change ownerships of the club, that the next owners will have the best interest for the club at heart?
Ben, we don't. But I personally, me, Stelios, am prepared to take my chances because the last 20 years, I've had enough. The past 2 years, sacking Poch, not backing him, not listening to him about the rebuild, bringing in Mourinho, a checkbook manager when we're not a checkbook club, sacking him 6 days before the final to save a bit of money, putting a rookie in who lost the final miserably. The rookie's now costing us our chance to top four. The whole thing stinks. And it is the breaking point moment where I want them out now. They're not going to change their ways. I'll be flabbergasted, guys, if they actually become true footballing people. They don't get it. They're not footballing people. They're businessmen.
I completely get what you're saying, Stel, but this club has not won like regular trophies since the 80s pretty much right now. And the 3 chairmen since then, Irving Scholar got chased out of this club. Alan Sugar got chased out of this club. Now ENIC are supposed to be getting chased out of this club. So, I mean, it's hard to know who we can bring in or who has got the money, £2 billion, let's say, to buy this club and to put the footballing side first. I mean, it's a dangerous game as well.
What's the alternative? You keep this lot, and it's the same old depression, collapse. You know, hope, failure.
I'm in the ENIC out camp. But I'm just trying to think of an alternative as well.
Ben, it's luck. It's pot luck. Did Man City fans expect Sheikh Mansour to come? No. Did Chelsea fans expect Abramovich to come? If you look at Leicester, Leicester's probably what Tottenham want to be. They spend money, but not crazy amounts. They've got excellent recruitment, good academy players coming in. They've always got a good manager that they look after that seems happy. They've built a new academy. They're developing the stadium. It's a club that is progressive. But it's luck that Leicester managed to acquire a chairman and an owner like that. It's pot luck, Ben. There's no guarantees we're going to get brilliant owners, but there's nothing to say that someone doesn't look at Tottenham and say, do you know what? What a sleeping giant. I'd love to take that club on. There's no guarantees, guys, but it's a case of I don't want this current structure to continue. I'm sick to death of what they're doing to this club. The footballing side, we were never called Spursy. We were never called Bottleham Hotspur. We were never called Bottle Jobs. This is all under ENIC. We never used to get called these things.
Yeah. Look, Stel,
anyway, guys,
agree with you.
Get your clown mask.
Agree with you,
get your clown mask ready.
And what did you think, Stel, of the apparent looks like they don't want to meet with the Supporters Trust in this statement, and Spurs have criticised, and the Supporters Trust have criticised Spurs in response to that, and it seems to be a bit messy at the moment because Spurs seem to publicly criticise the Supporters Trust in their statement to the fans there.
So, 2 things. Number one, the club has tried to play the supporters trust against the fans.
Yeah.
And by the supporters trust coming out and saying, don't insult us, your apology and your solution of not allowing us to meet up, but we can't talk about certain things, is unacceptable. By the supporters trust coming out and being firm, they've won the fans over as it stands now, and it's backfired on the club massively. I think the club did it to try and calm down the protests coming up, but it's not going to calm it down. Bob Spur's right; it's going to fire us up even more. And you cannot, guys, have a meeting where the agenda of the meeting is controlled by one side only. Whenever there's a meeting, you send out the meeting agenda. We're going to talk about A, B, and C. If you'd like to add anything to the meeting, tell us by a certain date. And you say, right, I want to add D, E, and F. So if the Spurs Supporters Trust say we want to add talking about the ownership of the club, we want to talk about a footballing director, we want to talk about Dan Levy's position, and the club say no, don't go to the meeting. They're absolutely right to knock it back. Who does this club think they are?
Yeah. Absolutely spot on, Stel.
And there's a statement here, or a tweet from the FSA, the Football Supporters Association, saying, disappointing that Spurs official released a statement criticising the Supporters Trust while we are mediating to set up a meeting. The Trust are willing to meet. As per government review, which the PL was involved in creating, Supporters Trusts have to be part of any fan panels. More to follow. So that's all the Football Supporters Association have said in response to the statement from Tottenham yesterday. So it seems that Spurs are not just ruining their reputation and their relationship with fans, but as well, it seems like the wider footballing community as well, which is what the Supporters Trust have said.
Yeah, listen, they're all going to be backing supporters, trusts, and fans, because all of football is pretty pissed off with the 6 clubs that tried to pull away and destroy the Premier League and destroy the pyramid system. They're livid with us. You know, they're not. The good thing is they know it's not us fans at fault. They know it's not us. They're very angry with the owners of these clubs and the behind closed doors meetings they were having, and saying to the supporters trust, no, there's no European project. What are you talking about? The footballing bodies that be are very, very, very angry with what's happened here. So that's good. It's good that the FSA's come out and back the supporters trust, because it's just more heat on Levy. We need to make Levy's position untenable, guys. We've got to make his position untenable to the point where he wants out, but without getting violent. I've got to stress that we can't do the whole violent thing.
Definitely true.
All right, Stel, big yourself out. Absolutely brilliant. Cool. Look forward to seeing you on the 15th. Are you going to be there on the 16th and the 19th as well? Love that.
I'm there with my full clown costume. I'm there on the 16th. I might even set up a circus tent and do some tricks for everyone on the high road.
do you do birthdays and permits?
I'll be there, guys. I'll be there.
Right,
listen, we do birthdays, bar mitzvahs, christenings, weddings. Take care, guys. Take care.
Thanks for coming on, man. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, Stel.
See you later, guys.
Brilliant. That was actually a really good call. Really good call. Absolutely spot on. But we got Josh, Spurs Debate TV, waiting. Here we go. Josh, how's it going, buddy?
All good, guys. What's happening, mate? You good?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good, mate. Just trying to get our heads around this statement from Tottenham Hotspur last night. What did you make from it, and what did you make out of the response today?
I think it's all a game of chess, Ben and Sim. This is all a game of political chess. You see it in government, and now we're seeing it in football. You know, you get MPs saying A and doing B, and in the end, the voter gets screwed over. And if you look at the same hierarchy in government, and in any government in power, and then you look at the voters and you look at the middlemen, which are the MPs. This is all it is. This is, them taking us for a ride, saying, oh yeah, we'll give you panel representation. But really, guys, do you really see these 3 or 4 or 5, 6 fans? And I hope it is you guys, because I know you'll say the truth. But can you really see them saying, oh, can we look into your company accounts? Oh, why didn't you spend another 10 mil there? They're just going to go, this is a business, mate. We haven't given you access to our accounts. We haven't given you access to our business plans and our models. We're just giving you a voice. So say your shit for 15 to 20 minutes. Come here for an hour, sit there, look pretty, wear your badges, and go home. But I'm not giving you access to the business. I'm not giving you access to the finances. And I'm not giving you access to any power, any real power. So for me, guys, it's a very small, minute step in having a different voice in the room that speaks the truth. But the next question is, how do they choose this panel? What are the clear indications on how these people are chosen? I want to know that. In government, at least you have votes, and those votes elect, like Sadiq Khan is the mayor of London again, whether you like him or not, he's the mayor of London because he got voted in. So where is the voting system that allows people to vote for this panel? That's what I want, because that's what you call a democracy. A democracy is when the people vote, not when the power decides who goes where. So I want to know how these people get into power. Well, it's not even power, but how this panel is elected. And once this panel is elected, can we change them? Yes, annually they're gonna choose a new person. Can the fans change the panel? We need to have people that represent Tottenham on the streets, on with the fans, and people like yourselves that understand the club from the fans' point of view. And there should be voting rights to get people like yourselves in there. Now, I've been on the Tottenham Hotspur website, on the Tottenham Hotspur Trust website for 25 quid, and I'll happily pay for both of you to go on myself today. You can both go on, and if you're not already members, it says here you get to stand for election to the THST board for 25 quid a year each. That's 50 quid, right?
Yeah.
If you guys can get on the board of the THST, then you might have another stepping stone to getting onto this advisory panel, because they're already in communication with Tottenham Hotspur. The trust is in communication with Tottenham Hotspur. So maybe that's the stepping stone to get into this panel, is to go via the THST trust board. But unless I've missed an article or something, have they clearly defined how these people are voted into the panel?
No,
or who decides?
No. It's
no,
just
I'll read it out,
completely
but
vague.
it's very
completely
vague. It says, where does it say? It says, as a result, we shall be liaising with key stakeholders and establishing a club advisory panel comprised of elected representatives from different constituencies of our fan base, inclusive and reflective of our fans' diversity. The chair of this club advisory panel will be appointed annually by as a full non-executive of the club board. So it doesn't really make it clear exactly how they're being elected or who's selected.
So when they say, let's break that down. When they say constituency, what do they really mean by that? So the trust is a constituency, as far as I can see. It's one of the constituencies.
I guess other supporters groups like Yorkshire Spurs, Punjabi Spurs.
That's what I get it. Like, all the official supporters trust.
So how do you guys become a constituency? How do we, our Tottenham TV? Because I've said this to you in person when we met. You guys are the people's channel. You're the only channel that allows people to come on and voice, swear, do whatever they want and express 100% how they feel about the club. You're the only channel that allows people to say what they want. You never sit on the fence, and you never push one or the other side. You always allow everyone to have their say. So you guys are in prime position to say, as the people's channel, how do we become a constituent as a part of this process? So I want to know, is there a website form that you fill in? Do you ring up a number and say, hi there, we are Tottenham TV. We're interested in being part of a constituency, or being a constituency that represents the fans. We've got 70,000 followers on social media, plus everything else. That's what I want to see, Ben and Sim. I want to see you guys apply, or how do you apply? Is there an application route? It's very muddy. Do you know what I mean? It's not clear. It should say at the bottom of that statement, if you feel you're a representation of the club, feel free to ring this number or email this person, and we will discuss how you become a constituency. I can't even say the word anymore. But yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but
that's
Josh, for me, they didn't give this any thought whatsoever. They just put this in a statement to shut the fans up in light of the protest this weekend. And I don't think they gave too much thought about that even.
It's a knee-jerk reaction, lads. And even the trust has said, this has just come out of the blue. We weren't expecting this. We've been calling for the board to resign, and they've got a problem with that, haven't they? They've got a problem saying we'll exclude your vote for the board to resign, and everything else we're happy to discuss, right? Which kind of basically is bypassing, United fans had the same with their trust. We've had the same response from our club now. We're happy to talk everything but the board. So, all that stuff that doesn't really matter. You can come and voice yourself, but you're not touching the board in any way, shape or form. And for me, that's not a democracy. And football's no longer a democracy. You pay your ticket, you go there, and you watch a game of football, and you come home and you're a customer. It's no longer a real voting football. Before the fans used to rule football and had a say, and like in Germany, we've got the 50+1. Here, it's no longer democracy. It's a business, lads. And I'm telling you now, whoever sits on that panel is going to have no access to finances. They're going to get those reports, you know, your annual finance reports. But really behind the scenes, all the money that's sitting there that is not being accounted for, all the black money, let's call it, that's not going to be transparent. That's not going to be something that, you know, the panel can say, oh, what's going on here with this amount of money. They'll just say, oh, we've shown a net spend of ABC. So, you know, that's it. That's all you're going to get. What's the real finances of the club? And we need someone who can go in and actually say, hold up, if we're making this much money and our competitors are spending this much, why are we not spending this much? Why are the shares, what the share dividends, all that, you know, that real gritty info about a business. That's what we should have access to, lads. Until then, we're just a voice and nothing else.
And also, they didn't mention at all in the statement, Spurs, about having conversations about the ESL behind the Supporters Trust back after the Supporters Trust have repeatedly brought it up in meetings and been turned away, in terms of they've been treated like it's not happening and it's just hypothetical situations which isn't fit to be discussed, and they haven't acknowledged that or brought it up, and they've kind of deflected criticism from those accusations from the Supporters Trust as well in their statement.
Yeah, they're saying you guys are a constituency and you know you have a right to have a say on the way this club is run, but as soon as they put out a serious recommendation, it's just bypassed. So 1 minute you're saying, oh, we really want to talk to you guys and have you guys there and hear what you've got to say, and then as soon as you ask for real change, oh, it's not happening. Real change is not allowed over here. Only small kind of bits of, you know, feedback from the fans. So guys, what this is basically saying is the fans are not that important. We're doing this for PR. We're doing this to look like we listen and we care. But really, when it comes to real change, you're nowhere near the conversation. You know, we're just gonna let you say your thing. We're gonna nod our heads, and then after that meeting, whenever it is, once every few months, we're gonna go away, and nothing really is gonna change. And the power that sits within this panel is gonna be limited to just having a voice, but not having any real control over how the club changes the way it runs itself, changes the business model, changes the way, you know, we recruit players or how much we spend. You know, we're like 18th or 19th in the net spend for the last 5 years in the Premier League. That's just not good enough. And we want to be top 4. And I know they've built this shiny stadium and they thought it would paper over the cracks and make fans come there and go, oh, wow, we've got this stadium. But they don't realize fans want success on the pitch. And I understand, right? I understand in business, you must get the business metrics right before you've even kind of gone out there and done anything else, right? Because, you know, it is a business, right? And they do need to get the business bit right. I accept that point, that there needs to be a profitable business before we can go out and spend hundreds of millions of quid, right? Because where do you get the money from? The government don't give, you know, free money to football clubs. It is a business, you know, no one's giving free money. Purely a business. We understand. We all understand that as fans. We're not naive. But what we're saying is, whilst it's a business, how are you spending that money and how much of that you're spending? What's going on with that bit? Because yes, we've got hundreds of millions of pounds to pay back, you know, whatever it is, right? They're saying £1 billion to pay back to the banks. But what's the plan? What's the transfer spend plan over the next 5-10 years? Even over the next 2-3 years, if they committed to the panel, we are looking to spend a net of 120 million or 100 million spend every year. We are looking to recruit, you know, to have a recruitment review every year, whether it's Hitchin, whether it's Mitchell. We're looking to put these measures in place and commit to the fans. We're going to spend this much money. And as a fan, you're sitting there saying, right, I know what's happening with the club. We're not going to go out a transfer window without spending. We're not going to do it again. We actually have a plan in place. And I feel like with Liverpool, with other clubs, there is a bit more communication that we are going to spend the money. Right now, we don't even know what we're going to spend in the next transfer window. Now, I respect that COVID has put a massive dent in everyone's bonnet, right? And financially, obviously, it's put a massive dent in everyone's bonnet. Totally respect that. But the way we behaved over the last 5 years, those guys need to be accountable for it. And they've got away with it. And you know, we lost a great manager in Poch because of it. And now what they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, you know, we need to sell our, we need to, you know, they'll sell Kane and half that money and all that bullshit will happen. But one thing's for sure is, what is the plan? And the plan for the next 2-3 years, nobody knows the plan for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Not me, not you, and you guys are the biggest fans out there. No one knows the flipping plan. And we're supposed to sit here and look ahead at this club and go, yeah, I'm still going to support them for the rest of my life, but I don't even know where we're going in the next 2-3 years. It's bullshit. The only person that knows the plan of this football club is Daniel Levy, and he's not willing to share that because you'll get shot down way before he even tries to execute it. And that's my problem, lads, is we're all part of this family and we have no idea where it's going. And that's what kills me the most is this time next year, you know United would have spent money. You know Chelsea are going to spend money. You know City are going to spend money. They're going to review everything from head to toe. We're sitting here going, oh, Tottenham, new stadium. Didn't spend any money.
Is Kane leaving? All these people, all these just negative things.
Mate, they need to give us the 5-year plan, the 3-year plan. We'll probably start, if Levy says this is the 3-year plan and he executes it, he'll just build trust for himself. Fans will start saying, actually, you know what? He said he's going to do A and he did A. He said he's going to do B and he did B. Give the guy time. At the moment, we haven't got that, lads. We've got no trust with this board. And they want to come out. And talking of trust, the one trust they've put under the bus is the one that was representing us, which is this THST, right? And, you know, like I say, lads, get on the board, 25 quid. It's very cheap, I think, for what they charge. I don't know where the money goes, to be honest, but for 25 quid, it's not bad. Better than paying £60 for a ticket. And if you guys can get on this panel, it says here, I'm reading it as we speak, it says, you know, full voting rights, and you get to stand for election for the THST board. I'd love to see you guys on the board, because that's one step closer to kind of representing the fans at the highest levels. And the other thing is, how do you become a constituency in this system? That's the other question I want to know. Is, you know, what's the way to do it? You know, do we all have to vote for We Are Tottenham TV to be a constituency? Is there a form you fill out? You know, do they have a voting section on Tottenham's website? And they say, right, these are our 10 constituencies. As a fan, you put your email in, just like you vote for a protest online or you vote for change in government. You put your name, you put your email, and you say, right, We Are Tottenham TV. Just like when you go to the voting polling stations, you tick your card that you want. Where's that bit for the fans? Where's the democracy in football gone? That's what hurts me the most, lads, is we're all part of a customer base that feeds a business, and we're no longer a democracy, which is what football used to be. It used to be the fan sport, and now it's just become like, you know, corporate giants like media, like Sky and ESL and obviously Tottenham and the other 5 clubs, just taking the piss out of us all, man. But yeah. Sorry, man, I'm ranting a bit.
It's not the fan sport, it's an investment sport now, and that's exactly what Unique are, an investment company, and unfortunately that's where we are at. We're at the moment, Josh.
But look, one thing one thing I'll say is that ESL has probably been one of the best things that could have happened to us and the other 5 clubs, because what it's done is it's made us all unite as fans, get on television, would we be protesting now if it was for the ESL? Probably not.
Probably not. I think it's woken a lot of people up.
Yeah, like, would we have protested if the Chelsea fans didn't protest before that game? Would United fans have protested? If United fans didn't protested, would we have protested? We have to ask these questions now. I know you guys were out protesting ENIC out not long ago, and there weren't many people that turned up that day because, you know, they didn't realize that, you know, how bad this really is, right? The United fans, the Chelsea fans, we're going to do our bit on the weekend. Now, the good thing is, guys, is that we, as a united football family, doesn't matter who you support, we're all fighting back. We're all fighting back to the sport. And I think that's the important thing out of this, is that we've all, as fans, I don't care who you support, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal have done their bit as well. Let's not forget to mention them.
Yeah.
We hate them, but you have to put your hat off and say they've done their bit. We're going to do our bit this weekend. And long may that continue. So maybe the ESL was the biggest blessing in disguise to wake up everyone and realize that these guys are greedy, they're in it for money, and they're not in it for you, the fan. They're not in it for you and what you care about the club. That's not important to them. Your seat is just a number, and your name is just a customer ID on their system. And that's all you are. But no, guys, no, Tottenham is our club. Tottenham is in Tottenham. Tottenham is full of people that love the club, and there's people around the country and the world that love the club. We're not going to let this lot just sell the soul of the club and piss off abroad and play in, like, I don't know, Australia or Saudi Arabia or Japan or China.
Or Stratford, where they tried to make us go at one stage.
Mate, do you know what I mean? This is it. So fan power, long may it live. And fan power is something which they cannot take away from us, and it's something that is in our hands. Fan power is in our hands. Let's not forget The power is in our hands, and let's not also forget how to use that power. I think a lot of us have not used our power. We've not used this thing we've had, which is voting and protesting peacefully, like Stel said, obviously peacefully. But we need to use that, lads. We're all sitting at home, and it's great being online. Don't get me wrong. But lads, when we're there, 15, 10, 15, let's hope it's 15, not 10 on the weekend. Mate, that's when we're actually using the power that we hold. We've just not used it. We've never used it. I don't know how many times you guys have been to protests. I've never been to one Tottenham, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones I've been to is very small scale ones, like a couple of weeks ago and a couple of days before that. It was me, Charlie, THFC, and John Cooper outside the stadium, and that was it. But look, I think you're absolutely spot on. Power to the people, and yeah, we'll see where we go, and look forward to seeing you at the protest this weekend.
See you on the weekend, lads. Keep your chins up.
Come on, Spurs.
See you, Josh. Come on.
And last but not least, we're going to get the Yid Kid on. How's it going, mate?
I'm good. Everything over here is good. And you guys?
Yeah, good, thanks. What was your reaction to the statements last night and today?
I haven't really looked into the one today because I just woke up. But the statement last night, a very, very sorry apology. The excuses about the Super League, that they thought it was going to be with the agreement of FIFA, UEFA, all this. It's absolute nonsense, and it's all a lie.
Yeah.
The new board person that they're bringing in, it's probably going to be Daniel Levy's cousin, Enoch's cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to be a fan. It's just going to be somebody that they're picked. There's not going to be any voting. But they did say a lot of bad stuff about the THST. So I haven't really looked into what the TSSE responded. I was expecting a response because it was a bit of a fire back. But I heard you saying that they were pretty angry.
Yeah, they were not happy with the message from Spurs towards the Supporters Trust, and they criticised Tottenham for not meeting them because the Supporters Trust are willing to meet under mediation from the Football Supporters Association, and Tottenham have basically criticised the Supporters Trust for wanting calling for the board members to resign and calling for potential new ownership. And the club said they're willing to meet without that being on the agenda, and the Supporters Trust have criticised that move.
Yeah, but why would the Supporters Trust go to a meeting with them after all the lies that the board have told them? After all these lies of everything, there's no reason that they should go back to a meeting.
That wasn't acknowledged. The lies was not acknowledged in the Tottenham statement. That they have been lying to the Supporters Trust for years about the Super League and claiming that it's not in the pipeline when those discussions were taking place, as they were denying it. So, and that wasn't acknowledged at all in the statement.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think the way forward is? For Tottenham, I know as a young fan it might be difficult for you to comprehend, the big picture and the history of what's happened at Spurs. But with some saying the fan representation panel is a step in the right direction, but is it just the club papering over the cracks in terms of what's really going on? Do you think?
I do think it's kind of suspicious, the timing. I mean, not too long before the protests. I do think it's a little bit of fear from the board. They're trying to calm down the protests when they said that we need to get behind Ryan Mason and the team to get European spots. This is to calm us down for the protests because they're feared of us. This is a step in the right direction, but not for the board, for us, because we could tell that they're afraid of us. So we need to go out in numbers, protest be even harder now since Daniel Levy put out the statement. But look, if they do put out an actual fan that actually has Tottenham Hotspur in their mind, that they're trying to basically like think of in the situation, then maybe it's a step in the right direction. But honestly, they're just gonna pick some random person from the streets.
Well, they're claiming that it's going to be there's going to be a panel taken from the various Tottenham constituency fan groups throughout the world. So they're saying it, but it's very vague in terms of how they're going to be elected and what specifically constituencies they're going to choose from. So it's all very vague and not very clear in terms of what the plan going forward actually is. And also, do you think the fact that this wasn't an open letter from Daniel Levy and the fact that it was basically just a cold corporate message also plays into the fact that there's nothing really personal between the board and the fans anymore?
Yeah, we saw the Liverpool owner going out and personally on video apologizing to the Liverpool fans, apologizing to the club, to the players, to Jurgen Klopp. We didn't see anything from Daniel Levy. It's just a letter. We don't know who wrote this letter. Levy probably doesn't even know about the letter. Neither does Joe Lewis. It's probably some random person that works at Tottenham. The chef.
Levy's lawyer probably did it.
The chef that makes hot dogs for free is probably the one that did it. but look, Joe Lewis is probably on a $1 million yacht in the middle of the ocean, not even knowing about the apology. And Daniel Levy just told someone to make an apology to look like they're actually sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, mate. But yeah, anything else to say?
You said that. I was also thinking about something right now. You said that they're going to pick a fan from a panel to be at the board. Maybe you guys should go.
Yeah, that's what a couple of people have said, calling in. I mean, it's quite humbling to think that people would want us to sit on the Tottenham board as like an advisory role. It really is mind-blowing to me. But if we do have some support and people want to see us there, then maybe it's something that we should think about.
Yeah, 100%. You guys you've been doing this Tottenham thing for such a long time. I remember watching you like in 2017. So yeah. You've been doing this for such a long time. You have a lot of knowledge about Tottenham, and you've actually been living and breathing the club, unlike the board. So maybe you should go out there.
Exactly, and not just for 20 years as well. So, look, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you next time, mate.
All right, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Exactly, spot on.
And yeah, I mean, really good calls today. Really good calls. And
it's great to get everyone's opinion on what their thoughts on the statement is, and it seems like everyone can see right through it pretty much.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think that my initial reaction has only been heightened from what the Supporters Trust has said. And back on the point where people are talking about appointing us or nominating us to sit on the advisory board is literally so humbling and so mind-blowing to me.
I mean, it's I'm flattered that people would want us on the board, but I think there are people who've been going who have known the club a lot longer than we have, and there's I know we've been living and breathing the club for ever since we've been alive, and we love the club a lot, but there are people. Like people who are part of the Sports Trust who've had constant dialogue with the actual board and know more of the ins and outs of how these things work. So
someone like a Martin Cloak or someone like that. Yeah,
so they seem more better, to be honest, positioned than us. But I wouldn't be against being on an advisory panel or being part of Sports Trust at all, and being in on those conversations and being in the dialogues. I think it's important with the platform that we have, that we're as best informed as possible in how things are working and what's going on in those meetings and stuff. But look, I don't think we're putting our hat in the ring or anything in terms of being on the club advisory board, but it's humbling that people are suggesting that we should go on.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make, is that we're not throwing our hat in the ring, no, by no means. But if people do want to kind of like put our name forward, like I said, it's just completely mind-blowing to me and completely humbling. And I think that if there is enough support for it, it is something that we will need to consider, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know how these people get elected. I don't know who they're selecting to be on this club advisory board. There's just so much up in the air that, like, we can say we consider it, but like, what are we considering? Like, we don't even know if they're electing just random people. So, like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, no, nobody knows how it works. But
if it's possible, there may be, like, I'd love to be on the advisory board so we can have an in-depth knowledge of what the discussions are being, and then we can tell the fans like how things are working, but in terms of actually advising anyone, I wouldn't want to put myself in a position where I feel like we're giving advice. Like we're just fans at the end of the day, and we live and breathe the club. But
that's all they're asking for on the board is fan representatives, as fans to be on the board, and just for them just to be fans. You know what I mean? And people to live and breathe the club, which we exactly do before this channel and after this. You know what I mean? We've always lived and breathed everything to do with this football club for our whole lives. And it's important to know. I've got a message from Grandpa, who wanted me to put a message out on the video today, and he said that everyone needs to join this Tottenham Supporters Trust. Everyone needs to join this Tottenham Supporters Trust. They've got about 24,000 members at the moment, and obviously it only costs about £25, and I think there's a lower level membership fee as well if you want to get involved. So the message he has is that the Tottenham Supporters Trust are more powerful with the more numbers they get. So if everyone joins, and everyone can have their say as well. So I think it's really important that everyone does join the Supporters Trust. We're actually not current members, but I think we are going to be joining today or tomorrow. So I think it's a very important message from Grandpa, from us, to join the Supporters Trust, because they are more powerful in more numbers, obviously. So
exactly, and then the more people they have behind them, the more representation they can have, because the more opinions they get from voting members. So they can say, we have this many Spurs fans who feel this kind of way, as opposed to a smaller sample. So it's very important that we get as many people as possible having their voice heard, and then Sports Trust has more validity in what they're saying they're representing.
Exactly. So, if they get a monstrous amount of numbers, Tottenham will have to take notice instead of doing these bullshit responses. But look, I think that's all we got time for today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. The callers, I thought, were absolutely brilliant today. So big up yourselves. Big up to everyone that has spammed in the chat that me and Sim should be on the board. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Like I said before, it's absolutely mind-blowing and humbling. So thank you all for that. This evening, we've got another live stream coming your way with a couple of people that are involved within the protest happening this weekend. And then obviously after they're on, we're going to open the lines to all the members and everyone out there as well. So join us at 7 p.m. as we go live for another ENIC Out and protest live stream and build up to the protest this weekend. So join us at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm sure we'll have some more content for you before that as well. So thank you everyone today for joining us. Everyone go down, scroll down, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.